The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 105.
Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women finding their inner journey to self-confidence 5 days a week. Get your free audiobook by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yapchan, and today I have a special lady on today. She is the founder of Hilary Hendershott Financial, and she'll be sharing her story on, self-confidence and what she's been through. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Hilary Hendershott. Hilary, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Sure, you bet. Thanks. I'm doing great today. It's almost Christmas here in California, and so we're getting ready with a little rain. A little bit about me. I've been in the financial advice world for about 15 years now, and it's really interesting because my professional journey really dovetails with your inquiry about self-confidence. But just about 18 months ago, I went out on my own. So I started in the business with my parents as my mentors, so in the family business, and I really had a passion for working specifically with women. I wanted to create a company and a brand and an offering that was specifically targeted at women, and felt that I could best do that on my own. So I founded Hilary Hendershott Financial and brought with me all that experience and some clients, and started offering online programs to help get people trained to organize and manage their money really effectively. And I'll talk kind of more about that. But what I really think is really important, and again, it's just really interesting to me how much of your topic area overlaps with mine. But I really think that what is really important for women when it comes to money is their confidence and their beliefs about what's possible for them in their life. So I do my best to teach people what I know. I was able to give a TEDx talk just a couple years ago about neuropsychology and beliefs and confidence about money, and how that's really the linchpin to everything.
Awesome. That's pretty amazing. Well, congrats being on TEDx. That's, quite a achievement. And yeah, I'm pretty excited because, women have this hard time earning money, right? Or trying to figure out how to earn money because they feel like sometimes they don't deserve it, or they don't have, a healthy relationship with money. So I'm pretty excited what you have to offer. And
thanks.
No problem. So Hilary, what's your cultural background?
So I'm born and raised in San Jose, California. And I was, So when I was born, 1976, it was before San Jose was the capital of Silicon Valley. So I've been here since the beginnings of the tech boom. And so it's been really interesting being a woman in Silicon Valley and not being in tech, and watching all that happen around me. And I guess from a religion, which is intrinsically intertwined with culture, right? From a religion perspective, I was raised Protestant, Presbyterian to be specific. And my family came over from England before the Revolutionary War.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
So I sent this to you, and I thought you would comment on it because I was looking at all the other really inspiring quotes that folks you've interviewed have sent you, and I thought maybe mine wasn't really appropriate. But something that I get a lot of really passion, motivation, inspiration from is a poem called Invictus. And do you want me to read it?
Yes.
Okay. It's a little long, and again, if I had known you, I thought you wanted to just get to know me, but if I had known you wanted me to read it, I would have picked something else. But maybe this is really perfect because it really is the thing that inspires me. So it's by William Ernest Henry, and he says, "Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds me and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul."
I love that. It's great. And don't worry, I everyone has their own like quotes and poems and stuff, and that's what makes this podcast really amazing, is because different women have different perspective, different quotes. So I really enjoyed that. Thanks for sharing that.
Thanks. Yeah, it's not something you would find on one of those motivation posters at the mall, but it really it's very moving.
No, for sure it is. So I appreciate that. And Hilary, how would you define self-confidence in your own words?
So for me, confidence is the willingness to act sometimes in the face of no agreement, but it really is the belief that I'm worthy, that I'm enough, that I show up with enough of the right traits and characteristics and enough worth to take the opportunity or to make the request or to participate in the way that I want to participate. There's this saying about your cup overflowing, and I really think there's something to the mindset of, we all are shoulder to shoulder and fundamentally equal. And so for me, confidence is the willingness to take the risk. And then when people say yes, show up and be the right person.
Love it. I like when you said taking the risk, right? Because I think too, as women, we're so afraid to take risks. I know I've been guilty of it. So I really appreciate that definition. And what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
I think most of the people who know me would describe me as I probably am perceived as very confident. I've always been athletic and outspoken and competitive. And for a lot of the world, that really shows up like, oh, she's already confident. And the truth is, I really question myself every day. And I thought that I would tell this story because it's most clear. Sometimes things are really made clear in our lives by contrast, by telling your listeners the journey of my confidence to my journey to financial confidence. So while living this life of an accomplished young woman, I was a college graduate and did well in college and got great jobs. I had this piece of my life that really didn't work, and that was money. And I kept getting myself into debt. I bought a condo at the height of right before the market crashed. And I did one of those loans that nobody should probably have taken out. And so my loan amount was like one of those loans that grows over time, right? So that's not your principal balance actually goes up. And then the property value was going down and my credit cards were maxed out. And I got to the place where I actually had a BMW that, of course, was on loan. So I had this big loan on this BMW convertible. It was really beautiful. And my credit cards were maxed out and I couldn't even put gas in the tank. I couldn't put gas in my BMW. And I thought, this is crazy, but I was so ashamed. It seemed like these results kept layering one on another, and I was hiding from everyone. It was so embarrassing that this was happening in my life, and I really was making it mean things about me. Because, there's the results that are like not having money in your bank account and having maxed out credit cards and losing your credit score. There's all that. But then there's all the things that you say to yourself, about what's happening. And for me, it was really, really became a downward spiral. So I just think about it in terms of that contrast of like having this life that I know looked pretty good from the outside, and on the inside really being like thinking, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, and it being all consuming.
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, I think that's a story that most people have. They look really great on the outside, and then on the inside, they're struggling, right? And especially like in Canada and America, it's like everyone's always trying to keep up with the Joneses. So they'll do whatever it takes to have like the best things in life, not knowing that they're in crazy debt or they could have their house repossessed. But, this is something that's really important that I think we should talk about because, nobody talks about these kinds of things, right? Nobody talks about people being in debt and stuff. So, what was that realization in your life when you said, what, it's time for me to change things around. I can't live like this. You just got to do something.
Yeah, you almost actually took the words out of my mouth. And I know I did a lot of thinking about this for this interview because I really thought about where does confidence come from? And I've always wished that I could be someone who could produce confidence without evidence, but it's always been the reverse for me. So I would lack confidence until my results actually proved me wrong. And then I would have what I call or consider to be evidence-based confidence. And I actually think if you're able to produce confidence without any evidence, you're actually probably better off. So there literally was a day, everything was crashing down around me financially. And I said to myself, like, I really just got real with myself and said, it's really obvious where this is going. Like, I'm lucky I can go sleep on my mom's couch and rent this condo out. But if I didn't have that, I really have put myself in a position where I may have legitimately been facing homelessness. And I said to myself, this is just not, that my life isn't going to go this way. So it was a pull myself up by my bootstraps kind of a moment. It's like leaving a bad relationship, right? Because you suffer and suffer and suffer and you don't want to leave. And the hardest thing is actually making the decision. And once you fully decide, all the actions that there are to take and everything just becomes really clear. And, you have the breakup conversation and you get your stuff back and maybe, so I'm sort of extending the breakup metaphor here, but really once I made that financial decision, like I'm going to do whatever it takes to get out of this. Like I've produced bad results. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person. And I know I can, if I change the direction of things, eventually I will come out of this. And I still was embarrassed. I still really suffered about the results that I had produced, but I set about a different course of action. And I let the condo go and I paid off or made negotiations with the credit card debt. And I gave the BMW back to the bank with an empty tank of gas and I right-sized my life. And it wasn't for some time after that I could tell this story. And I really was still kind of pretending. So I was in financial services at that time. I was working with millionaires and multimillionaires, helping them invest their money and dealing with this catastrophe in my own financial life kind of in the background. And then I had this thought, if I could share this in a triumphant way, if I could share this win with women and inspire them, then it actually will have not been a net loss. Like I cost myself tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. I drained my IRAs and everything like that, throwing good money after bad. But I thought, if this can be a gateway for the women around me to suffer less or not suffer at all, then I will have fundamentally won. And it took, in the beginning when I started being open about what had happened in my life, I was probably really awkward and probably didn't share it completely transparently because there was still this shame. But at this point, I've told the story so many times and on so many stages and so many interviews and written about it that I'm really free. And I guess confidence is so intertwined with freedom because there's a freedom to be rejected. There's a freedom from the past. There's a freedom to take risks. For me, it's like they're almost inseparable. It's like when I go for a run, not necessarily on the treadmill, but if I'm running a path or especially outside, I feel so free and confident and powerful that those three really go hand in hand. So I think the turnaround moment led to actions which produced new results, which compounded the positive feelings. And now there's just freedom and like a brand new financial life. Obviously, I have savings and I save a lot and I don't have any debt and like that.
Awesome. And that's a great story. And I love how you said, like your results doesn't have to define you, right? You just decided you're going to do whatever it takes. And sometimes we're so hard on ourselves because we're always basing our results from the past, not knowing that we can change that in an instant, right? Like you said, you make a decision and you just act on it and you just keep going and never look back. So, I'm glad you were able to turn around and now you live a lifestyle where you don't have to worry about debt. You don't have to worry about getting stuff repossessed or even having an empty gas tank, right?
Yes, but I always have compassion for people who are there. It's like, every time I'm able to buy what I want and have the things in my life that I want, I still remember what that was like. And it's almost like I'm glad it's there because I so appreciate what I have. But yeah, my message is really like, look, everything in life is cause and effect. If you have bad results now, it's because of actions in the past. So just take new actions now.
Yes, I love that. And, to the woman who's listening to your interview, she's probably in a similar situation and she's probably thinking, how can I get out of it? Or she's on her own journey with on self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to them?
So I invite people to look at their core belief about money. And there's a lot of people who teach to look at money beliefs, plural. And if you listen to my TEDx talk, I talked about some research that's been documented and published by neuroscientists and financial professionals. What we actually know now is that you have a core belief about money, and all of your results and all the things you say and all the things you experience about money are in an alignment with that core belief. And some of the most popular core beliefs are like and you'll hear things either that you say about money, things other people say about these. It's like money is evil or money is bad. There's never enough money. Money is complicated. Money doesn't grow on trees. Don't talk about money. And I think it can be really freeing if you really understand that money actually isn't the way that you think it is. It's just that your brain is really powerful at creating a filter to always see what you already think is true about money. So when you can unlock that money operating system and begin to look at money through a new lens, you can really unwind and recreate everything that's true for you about money, including how much you make, how well you are in harmony with your partner. Like that, really anything's possible for you.
I love that. And I'm going to check that TEDx talk probably after this interview. I like when you said, bring out the core, because I think also, our parents, they tell us things like that, money doesn't grow on trees and things like that. And nobody realizes that can really affect someone's head. I know. These little things, right? As young as like maybe 5 or 6 or 7, and it sticks with you, right? Your subconscious thinks that because it's been ingrained in your head since you were young. So thanks for sharing that. And Hilary, if our listeners want to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Sure. So on Twitter, I'm Hilary the CFP. CFP is Certified Financial Planner, and my first name has one L. So it's HILARYTHECFP, Hilary the CFP. Also, HilaryHendershott.com is my homepage. And there's a very cool free gift for folks who are interested in finding out more. There you can opt in for a guide. It's like a little ebook. It's a guide to understanding exactly what your money operating system is, how to unlock it and decode it, and move on in your life to create better and better results so that you can stop worrying about money.
I love it. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Hilary and check out her free gift, you can also head on over to thetowofselfconfidence.com and search for Hilary's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I really want to thank Hilary for taking the time to share her story and share her tips on money and self-confidence. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Sheena.
Awesome. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll catch you later. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Subscribe to The Tao of Self-Confidence on iTunes and Stitcher to hear more stories of amazing women finding their inner journey to self-confidence.